Some common questions I get asked are what tape I keep wrapped around my pump or what tape I keep in the workshop, and specific tape I use for this or that or the other. So as weird as it feels to be doing this, today I'm dedicating a whole video to tape. Yep, today I'm gonna go through all the tape I carry in this workshop bin, as well as what I carry with me out on bike rides and epic bikepacking trips. And what I slap over my kids' mouths when they get out of line. Ah! Just kidding. Before you start yawning and unsubscribe, hear me out. Having the proper tape for the various situations that arise is actually quite satisfying. And luckily, tape is pretty cheap, so once you're stocked up, it'll last you a good long while as long as you store it well and keep it dry and uncontaminated. First up is the old school granddaddy of them all, 2-inch duct tape. There's a lot of confusion on whether it's called duct tape, D-U-C-T, or duck, D-U-C-K, because of the cotton cloth it was originally made of. Don't worry, I'll geek out on all the history and factoids when I post a comprehensive duct tape hacks and tips video. For now, just know that you should have it in your home workshop and take a couple feet with you bikepacking as well. Wrap it around a bike pump, fuel bottle, or any vessel of your choosing. The uses and fixes are virtually endless. Broken tent poles, broken sunglasses, patch a hole in a frame bag or a dry bag, use it as a tire boot, even as a tube patch if you run out of real ones. The only bummer is the sticky residue it leaves when you peel it off, and if it's left on for a while, it can get really messy when it's time to remove it, but you gotta have it. Along those lines, you should always have some Gorilla Tape too. Yes, it is very similar to duct tape and it can be used in many of the same ways, but it's a little stronger and thicker and not quite as malleable as the thinner duct tape. I like this 1-inch version. You can use it to help a slipping seat post, a rattling bottle cage, you name it. My rain pants ripped at the seam and this Gorilla Tape has held them together for a few seasons. Some people also like using it for tubeless setups, and you'll find all kinds of debates on the internet of why it's possibly better than purpose-made tubeless tape. Personally, I'd have no issues using it for tubeless repair in the field, but I still prefer actual tubeless tape when possible. I'll save that drama for my Gorilla Tape video, but what a fantastic segue into tubeless tape. There's a zillion brands out there and everyone's got a favorite. Stans, DT, WTB, Muck-Off, Orange Seal, Scotch 8898, Captain Tape, Tessa 4289, blah, blah, blah. I could go on for days. The point is, every mountain biker and bikepacker should be running tubeless setups these days, and that means you should have tubeless tape of the appropriate width lying around. As you can see, I've got a bunch of widths and brands and all types of shapes and sizes that I've collected over time. Do I have a favorite? Not really. I find it's more about proper application and installation than the actual tape itself. Over the years, I've probably used Stans tape the most because it comes in so many widths and it was one of the first I was introduced to, but I'm not married to it. Most of these tapes have no issue sticking to alloy rims, but the natural gum rubber backing sometimes affects it adhering to carbon. Warming up the surface with a blow dryer or heat gun helps it stick better, and always make sure you clean the rim surface with rubbing alcohol before applying the tape. Next up is another heavy hitter in the arsenal, electrical tape. And no, not all electrical tape is made the same, but I'll save that for an electrical tape hacks video because there's so much to say about it. I've used it to write motivational notes and ride cues on my handlebars. You can use it to mark your seat post tight, cover braze-on holes when using a frame bag, protect your frame from cable rub. What else? It helps prevent fraying when you're cutting carbon handlebars. And I'm telling you, this is just the tip of the iceberg, so keep some in your workshop and wrapped around your pump on bike rides. I never leave on a bikepacking adventure without tenacious tape or gear aid or some type of fabric repair tape. This stuff is a lifesaver for all kinds of rips or tears or punctures on all types of fabric. You can use it to fix bivy sacks, tents, clothing, sleeping bags, air mattresses, you name it. It does a great job of keeping small tears from growing into big ones, and it's pretty permanent once it cures for a few days. It's also machine washable if you're using it on clothes. In addition to rolls, it's also available in strips and various size and shaped patches as well. And they even make a version specifically for Gore-Tex fabric. Anywho, super versatile and great to have on hand. On to Teflon tape. also called plumber's tape or PTFE tape. It's the stuff you wrap on pipe threads before installing your shower head so that it doesn't leak and drip and become super annoying. So how does it relate to bikes? Good question. I first started using this stuff on the early model 9er single speed eccentric bottom brackets. They only had one tightening bolt and the tape wrapped around the EBB kept it from creaking. Nowadays, I always use it when I'm installing threaded bottom brackets. When you think about it like installing your shower head, it makes complete sense. It makes a barrier that won't let water or dirt pass through, and it adds friction and takes away play between threads. This keeps your bottom bracket from coming loose, and it keeps annoying creaks and noises at bay. When it's time to service, it peels off real easy, and then you just reapply. By the way, I always put a thin layer of anti-seize on top of it as well, and it works like a charm. Up next, we have helicopter tape or frame protection tape. This is great when you want to protect your investment from abrasion, especially your high dollar carbon rigs. It's also really useful under the straps of bike packing bags or on your head tube and anywhere cables rub, and it's totally incognito when applied properly. This is one of my favorites. This is self-sealing or self-fusing silicone tape. It also comes in super handy under bike packing bag straps, especially on top tube bags for extra abrasion resistance, and it keeps them from flopping and rotating around. It's got a rubbery silicone finish and it's super grippy and stretchy, and it's easy to peel off because it only grips to itself. I'll repeat that it doesn't actually stick to your frame or anything else other than itself. So it's great for keeping clamps and electronic mounts from slipping or shifting, and you can use it to shim mounts that aren't snug enough. It also dampens sound, so it's a viable option as a chainstay protector. I've also used it as an alternative finishing tape when installing bar tape. You know, I can't find it in here right now. I think I might have run out, but I should talk about strapping tape or filament tape. It's basically packing tape with fiberglass filaments running through it. It's super strong and it won't flex or stretch. I keep the 1/2-inch version on hand for securing shift and brake housings to drop bars. It holds everything nice and snug so you can get a clean wrap with your bar tape. It's super tacky, sticks to itself very well, and it cuts easily with scissors. And yes, you can use electrical tape for this as well, but I prefer strapping tape because it doesn't have any give. Here's some 3M reflective tape, which I strategically place around my bike frame and fork to increase my visibility to motor vehicles at night. Sometimes for even more visibility, I'll attach it to spokes by folding it over and tabbing it as well. I go with 3M because it's the good stuff, and some of the cheaper versions don't adhere as well or they're not quite as bright. On that note, if you're worried about it being a pain to remove or the residue it might leave, you can always put down a layer of electrical tape first. Just saying. This roll is obviously silver, but you can get it in different colors to help you coordinate to your specific bike. I just make sure to outfit all my bikes with high-vis tape anytime I'm gonna be riding at night. Here's some regular old packing tape, straightforward. I pretty much only use it for sealing up cardboard bike boxes for shipping or when I'm flying. And I usually keep it in one of these dispensers because it's much easier and faster to apply. It's so much better than ripping it with your teeth, and it makes you feel like a pro. I'm a big fan of using painter's tape or masking tape to prep bikes for shipping and or if I'm traveling by airplane and using a bike box. It's a fast and hassle-free way to attach protective foam and padding to all parts of the bike and securing the handlebars to the frame and all that stuff. It's easy to tear by hand, you don't need scissors or a blade of any kind, and it's just tacky enough to do the job without being too sticky and annoying. When it comes time to peel the tape off, it's easy peasy and it won't damage the paint on your bike or leave any residue. Another use I recently found for painter's tape is slapping it on the top tube of my indoor trainer so that I can protect the bike from sweat. You know, masking tape is also great for labeling and organizing tool drawers and parts bins in the workshop if you don't have the next tape I'm going to discuss, which is P-Touch. I guess P-Touch isn't really a tape and it requires a special labeling machine to use, but I'm going to give it an honorary mention. I don't know where anyone would get this, but I have been told I can be a bit anal or OCD at times. But along with that comes attention to detail and organization, which are necessary qualities for any decent mechanic. I use P-Touch to label all my bins in the workshop and to keep all my tools and gear organized. I also label my myriad of charging cables as well as electronic devices and batteries that I take out into the field. No, it's obviously not necessary, but if you like having a place for everything and everything in its place, then I'd recommend investing in a P-Touch labeler. Ooh, less common but still quite useful is mastic tape. Its primary purposes in real life are to seal holes in HVAC systems and as electrical insulation. But in the bike world, because of its rubberized finish and its noise dampening characteristics, it makes a pretty good choice for a chainstay protector and quieting chain slap. I don't know if you can tell here, but it is pretty burly, so it also works very well as a down tube protector. Be aware it has great adhesive power and can be very hard to remove, so once it's on, it's on. Pro tip, you might want to lay down some frame protection tape first and then stick the mastic tape on top so that you can more easily remove the mastic tape down the road. It's also worth noting that you can get it in either 1 or 2 inch, and if you're buying the 3M version, make sure to get 2228 and not 2229. 2229 is sticky on both sides, or it's basically like double-sided tape, which you probably don't want. I also keep a roll of Leukotape or kinesiology tape on hand. For deep winter fat biking, I made templates and I cut out pieces of tape to stick on my nose and cheeks. Used this way, it's basically a barrier against wind and cold to protect my face against frostbite. It can also be helpful with its intended use, which is taping up or preempting overuse injuries like Achilles and knee pain that are common in bike packing. Last but not least is Tyvek tape. I'd never heard of or thought anything about this stuff until I was preparing for the Iditarod. But the two J's convinced me to order some. Jay Cable, who's a multi-time veteran and winner of the ITI 1000, mentioned it in his blog, and Jay Peterberry brought it up at a winter fat camp I attended. Other tapes tend to have problems with their tackiness and super duper sub-zero temps, but Tyvek tape, which is primarily used for building homes, fares well in deep winter conditions. So I always throw some on my pump next to the duct tape and electrical tape for winter bike packing. That's been an awful lot of tape talk, and I know how fast I speak, so I'll put a list of all the tape I mentioned along with links where you can find them or purchase them down in the description below. If you have any questions or if there's any types of tapes you love for bike packing or keeping around your home workshop, please let us know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd also be really grateful if you share this video, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already, because it really helps my little channel grow. And a huge shout out and thank you to all our Patreon and channel members. Without you, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. Anywho, that's it for now. So until next time, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward. Thanks so much for squeezing dirty teeth into your busy schedule. Please help us reach more people and ensure you receive new videos by giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. Until next time, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward.